please subscribe to my channel. I've carried this weight inside me for so long it feels like it's eaten a hole straight through my chest. Maybe saying it out loud will shift the heaviness. Maybe you'll understand, maybe you won't. But if you've ever poured your whole heart into someone only to watch them slip away like water through your fingers, then maybe what I'm about to share will echo in your bones. The night I walked away from her, it felt like something deep inside me splintered. Not a clean break, but a jagged crack stretching into darkness I couldn't see the end of. Back then, I didn't realize how far the damage would spread. All I knew was that, months later, I'd still be sitting alone trying to sift through the rubble of a life I once thought was unshakable. I kept telling myself I was strong enough to leave without falling apart. But the truth was, I'd been fractured long before my hand touched the doorknob. I can still picture the living room where everything began to unravel, the worn rug we picked up at a thrift store. The same rug where we'd once sprawled out, laughing, making plans, whispering promises we thought would last forever. And then she said it. 5 words. Quiet but lethal. Michael makes me feel alive. She didn't yell. She didn't cry. She delivered it like a sentence, eyes sliding away from mine. I didn't ask who he was. I didn't demand explanations. My vision burned with tears I refused to let fall. Not in front of her. Not after that. All I could manage was a brittle, "I hope he gives you what you're looking for." Even as the words left my mouth, I knew they weren't true. Deep down, I prayed what she thought she wanted wasn't real. That she'd remember I'd been the one who stayed, who showed up no matter what. But you can't hold on to someone who's already halfway out the door. Begging them to stay is just another way of dying slowly. So I left, not because my love had run dry, but because I couldn't keep loving someone who'd already left me in her heart. The nights after were a hollow kind of brutal. Sleep abandoned me. Food turned to ash on my tongue. I holed up in a cheap motel 40 minutes outside the city, staring at a ceiling that never blinked, replaying every moment I wished I could take back, every word I should have said. My phone lit up with messages and calls from friends and family, but I ignored them. Their sympathy felt like salt in an open wound. Eventually, I found a small apartment without ghosts, without reminders of her. I picked up shifts at a hardware store to fill the empty hours. The owner, a grizzled old man with paint-stained hands, never asked about my life. Maybe he saw I wasn't there for the paycheck. I was there to keep my hands busy so my mind wouldn't unravel. Days blurred into weeks. I painted the apartment walls. I adopted a rescue dog named Penny. She didn't heal me, but she gave me a reason to come home. A reason to get out of bed when everything else felt pointless. Over time, I realized I didn't miss Brooke, not really. I missed the version of her I'd built in my head. The one who'd always choose me, who'd never betray me. But that version had never actually existed. 6 months later, breathing no longer felt like climbing uphill. I started talking to coworkers. Grabbed coffee with someone once. Smiled without forcing it. It wasn't love, not even close, but it was forward motion. For the first time, Brooke's shadow wasn't sitting across from me at every meal. 9 months in, I felt steady. Not fixed. Not whole. But steady. I wasn't waiting for her to apologize. I wasn't chasing closure. I'd built my own. Then one Thursday evening, she showed up. I'd just come back from work, sawdust still on my shirt, groceries cutting into my arms. As I turned the key in my door, I heard my name. Michael. I froze. She was there, Brooke. Same face, but hollowed out like life had carved her down. Her eyes were swollen, her hands clutching a letter. I've been trying to find you, she said, voice trembling. My heart pounded, but I stayed silent. She held out the envelope. Everything I never said. Everything I should have told you. I didn't take it. Not because I hated her, but because I'd learned not to let her choices define my worth anymore. Tears streaked her face, and for a heartbeat the old version of me flickered. The man who would have invited her in, made tea, offered another chance. But that man was gone. Months of pain had burned him away. She broke down, confessing between sobs. She'd lied about Jason. Thought she needed more. But it was nothing. He didn't want her, only the thrill. She'd destroyed the only good thing she had. You were the only one who ever made me feel alive, she cried. For a heartbeat, I saw the woman I once loved. But we were strangers now. You didn't destroy us, Brooke, I said quietly. You destroyed yourself. Her face crumpled. I'm sorry, she whispered. I nodded once. I hope you heal. But I'm not yours anymore. Her tears came harder, but I didn't reach for her. That wasn't my role anymore. She turned and walked away, just as I had nearly a year before. Inside, I set the groceries down and sat beside Penny. My chest ached, but not with longing. It ached because the final thread between us had snapped. And in the quiet it left behind, there was peace. If someone tells you they've found more outside of what you built together, let them go. Don't plead. Don't chase. Don't bargain for their return. Walk away. Because the greatest thing you'll ever discover isn't an answer. It isn't revenge. It's the freedom of no longer measuring your worth by someone who chose to leave.